I never thought I'd be the kind of man who tells this story. The kind of man who got blindsided in his own marriage. But here I am, sitting on the edge of my bed, staring at a pair of heels she never wore for me. My name's Evan. I'm 38. I work in IT for a logistics firm out of Denver. My wife, Rachel, just turned 35. We've been married for 8 years, no kids. Not by choice. Infertility hit us hard in year 5. I thought we were stronger because of it. I thought the shared grief made us closer. But something shifted about 3 months ago. At first, I chalked it up to stress. Rachel had just taken a promotion. She was now the executive assistant to the regional director of her firm, a guy named Carter Reynolds. Polished, tall, charismatic in the way you know is rehearsed. The type of guy who talks over other men and laughs just a little too long. I met him once, a networking event. He shook my hand like I was invisible. It was around that time Rachel started coming home later. More makeup, tighter dresses. She said it was expected. Appearances matter now. Corporate culture, image. I wanted to believe her. God, I really did. But it's hard to ignore the way your wife pulls away from your touch at night. The way she used to roll into you under the sheets and suddenly sleeps like she's on the other side of the bed for a reason. One Saturday morning, while she was in the shower, I saw her phone light up. Message preview. Carter. Still thinking about last night. When can I see you again? I stared at the screen like it might change. My chest felt tight, like my ribs didn't know how to hold my lungs anymore. I didn't confront her, not yet. That was the moment I knew, I had to be sure. And if it was what I thought it was, I wouldn't scream. I wouldn't beg. I'd break her from the inside out. The thing about betrayal is, it doesn't come all at once. It leaks in slowly. A little crack here, a change of tone there, a look that lingers too long, but not on you. After that message from Carter popped up, I took a screenshot and airdropped it to my laptop. She never noticed. I told myself maybe it was innocent. Maybe he was drunk. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. But that hope died pretty quickly. Over the next few days, I started to watch Rachel the way she used to look at me when I lied about smoking in the garage. Subtle, quiet, calculated. She became a woman I didn't recognize. She'd start arguments over nothing. Forgot little things about me, like what I wanted on my sandwich, or which side of the bed I always slept on. She used to do this thing where she'd rest her head on my chest while we watched TV. I'd stroke her hair until she fell asleep. That stopped. Instead, she started sleeping with her phone under her pillow. Started taking calls on the patio at night. Always locked the bathroom door. So, I got smart. I installed a basic tracking app on her phone while she was asleep. Nothing illegal, just location sharing. We used to have it for emergencies anyway. Then I waited. I didn't even check it for the first few days. I wanted her to relax. Let her guard down. The following Thursday, she told me she had to work late. Big presentation, high-stakes client. I nodded like I believed her, even packed her a protein bar and wished her good luck. She kissed my cheek out of habit, not love. I could feel it. That night, her location stopped at the Westview Hotel at 6:38 p.m. I sat at home, just staring at the dot on the screen for almost 2 hours. The hotel wasn't far, 10 minutes away. I didn't go there. I didn't need to see it. I just needed confirmation. At 10:12 p.m., she texted me. Rachel. Still working, might crash at the office. Don't wait up. My hands were shaking as I read it. Not because I was heartbroken anymore. Because I was starting to feel something sharper. Something colder. Hate. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to cry. I was going to make sure she regretted every single lie she told me. And I knew exactly where to start. The next morning, I acted like nothing was wrong. I made coffee. Left her favorite mug out. Didn't ask if she slept at the office. When she walked in the door just after 7 a.m., hair slightly messy, makeup smudged like she'd wiped it off in a hurry, I didn't say a word. She lied like she'd practiced it. Long night, she said, dropping her keys in the bowl. Didn't even finish the deck. Carter's gonna be pissed. I smiled and nodded. Tough week, huh? She kissed me on the cheek again. Same spot. Same dead feeling behind it. I'd seen enough. That afternoon, I met with a lawyer. A woman named Dana Miller. Razor sharp. No nonsense. I told her everything. The suspicion, the message from Carter, the hotel GPS ping. She didn't blink. Cheating with a superior at work, she said, jotting down notes. If you can prove that, it opens up leverage. Especially if his company has an infidelity clause or code of conduct. Leverage. That was the word I was looking for. Dana gave me 3 instructions. Don't confront her yet. Start documenting everything. Find proof that's undeniable. That night, I ordered 2 voice-activated audio recorders and a keychain camera disguised as a car fob. I'd read about guys going crazy trying to collect proof, but this wasn't about obsession. It was about strategy. By the weekend, I had the recorders hidden. One in the car, one in the nightstand drawer next to her bed. The fake key fob I left on the counter. She didn't even notice it wasn't mine. The following Tuesday, she had a girls' night. At least, that's what she said. By 8 p.m., her location lit up again, the Westview Hotel. Same damn place. This time, I didn't stay home. I drove out there, parked 2 buildings down, waited in the lot with my headlights off and watched the front entrance. At 9:17 p.m., she walked out with him. Carter, Mr. Executive, smug bastard in a sport coat, hand on the small of her back like he owned her. She laughed, tossed her hair. I snapped 6 photos, time-stamped, clear, her hand in his, him kissing her neck as they got into the car. I wasn't even angry anymore. I just felt focused, laser-focused, because now, I had everything I needed. The only thing left to do was take everything she cared about and burn it to the ground. By the end of that week, I had a folder on my desktop labeled Exit Strategy. Inside were audio files, GPS logs, time-stamped photos, and a summary timeline I wrote myself, clean, factual, emotionless. The truth laid out like evidence in a courtroom. It wasn't enough just to know. I wanted her to feel it, to watch her life fall apart the way she casually dismantled mine. But I couldn't move too fast. That's what most guys do. They explode, confront, yell, and give her time to spin the narrative. To play the victim, I wasn't giving her that chance. I waited 1 more week. I watched her flirt on the phone late at night, giggle at texts, go cold the second I entered a room. I slept beside her and felt like a stranger renting space on the edge of the mattress. Then, one night, she came home tipsy. Probably from another happy hour with Carter. She walked into the kitchen, heels in hand, and slurred, "You're so sweet, Evan. You've been different lately. It's like, calm." She kissed my cheek. Again. I smiled. "You're right," I said. "I feel like everything's finally falling into place." She giggled and stumbled off to bed. The next morning, while she was in the shower, I printed copies of everything, emails, photos, voice recordings, and receipts. Then I drove to her HR department. Anonymously, of course. I submitted the full packet of evidence with a note. Rachel Harper is having an ongoing sexual relationship with her direct supervisor, Carter Reynolds. Attached are images, locations, and recordings that suggest misconduct violating your code of conduct and equal opportunity employment policies. If this is ignored, I'll escalate to corporate legal. I didn't leave a name. I didn't have to. I just walked out and went straight to Dana, my lawyer. We filed for divorce the next day. I made sure everything was lined up. My name off the joint accounts, a new place already leased, utilities transferred, and my paycheck redirected to a new bank. The house? In my name. Bought it with an inheritance before we married. She had no claim, and I made sure she found out the same day Auer called her in. I'll never forget the text I got from her that afternoon. "Rachel. Evan, what the hell is happening? HR just suspended me. They said someone sent in photos. Are you doing this?" I waited 5 minutes before replying. "I told you everything was falling into place." She called me 10 times. I didn't answer. I was already packing my things. Her panic was just beginning. By the time I got home that evening, the texts had gone from panic to pleading. "Rachel. Can we talk? Rachel. Please, Evan. I don't know what's going on. Rachel. They're saying it was an anonymous report. I swear I didn't do anything that could get me fired. Rachel. I need you. Please just pick up." I didn't. I packed a single suitcase, grabbed my laptop, and walked out. I left my wedding ring on the kitchen counter, right next to the envelope marked, "For Rachel. Open when you're done lying to yourself." Inside, I printed a single sheet. I know everything. The hotel, the messages. "Carter, you didn't just cheat on me, You disrespected me. You lied to my face every day and smiled while doing it. There's nothing left here. The divorce papers are filed. I'm keeping the house. My lawyer will be in touch. I suggest you tell Carter to update his resume. Evan. I moved into a small condo. Downtown. Nothing flashy. Just enough space to breathe again. To think. The silence was a gift. That week, her world imploded. HR launched a formal investigation. Multiple employees were interviewed. Carter was temporarily placed on leave. Rachel was told she might be demoted or terminated depending on the outcome. She texted again. Rachel. I can't believe you did this to me. I actually laughed. Out loud. I didn't do this to her. She did it to herself. I just turned on the lights and let the roaches scatter. She came by the house 2 days later. Pounded on the door. Cried. Screamed. Left voicemails that swung between anger and desperation. I listened to every one. It wasn't about me. Not really. She didn't cry because she missed me. She cried because she was losing the life she built off of my trust. Carter wasn't returning her calls, either. Shocker. Eventually, she showed up at my office. Security called before she got past the lobby. She says it's urgent, the guard said. Tell her I don't speak to liars, I replied, and hung up. That was the first day I slept through the night in a long, long time. It took another week before she really cracked. I'd gone completely silent, no responses, no interaction. My lawyer handled everything. She was served the divorce papers at her temporary apartment, some low-rent place near the train line. Not the condo we used to live in. She couldn't afford that anymore. She tried to fight the terms, at first. But the prenup we signed 5 years ago? Bulletproof. She forgot that I paid for that lawyer. And I wasn't stupid back then, even when I was in love. The house? Mine before the marriage. The savings? Split. But the accounts were already gutted, moved into my name weeks before filing. Her lawyer tried to argue, emotional distress. My lawyer countered with proof of infidelity, workplace misconduct, and reputational damage to her employer. That shut it down fast. She lost her job a few days later. Carter? According to my last update from a friend who works in their corporate office, he resigned quietly to pursue other opportunities. I imagine his wife didn't appreciate the hotel receipts. That's right. I mailed her copies, too. No return address. Just the evidence. I didn't want revenge for the sake of it. I wanted to reset the score. Quietly, cleanly. And now Rachel was standing on my doorstep. In the rain. No makeup. Hair messy. She looked small. Not the polished version of her that Carter got. Just Rachel, the one I used to love. She stood there for a long time before knocking. I opened the door halfway. Not to let her in. Just enough for her to see that I wasn't broken. That I was okay. She looked at me like she was seeing a stranger. Can I come in? She asked, voice shaking. No, I said. Tears welled up instantly. Evan, I made a mistake. A huge one. I wasn't thinking. You were thinking, I cut in. Every night at that hotel, every lie you told me, you were thinking. You just didn't think I'd walk away. She stepped closer. Please, we can fix this. I don't care about the job. I don't care about Carter. I let out a bitter laugh. Rachel, you don't get to rewrite the story. You don't get to decide when it's over. She was full on crying now, mascara running like an old memory. I'm sorry, she whispered. I threw everything away. I know that. I need you. For a split second, I saw her as she used to be. The woman I once promised forever to. But that woman was gone. I needed you too, I said softly. But you weren't there. Then I closed the door. Behind it, I heard her sob. For a long time. Then silence. She never came back after that. That night, I sat on the couch in my new place. No TV on. No music. Just the quiet hum of the city outside my window. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel angry anymore either. What I felt was peace. Real, deep peace. The kind that only comes after you've clawed your way out of a slow-burning hell and finally stood still long enough to feel the oxygen fill your lungs again. I looked around the apartment. Bare walls, boxes still unpacked, takeout containers on the counter, and for the first time in months, it didn't feel empty. It felt mine. I'd been so caught up in proving I wasn't weak, in showing her the cost of her betrayal, that I forgot what I was really after. My life back, not the life I had with her, The life I had before I twisted myself to keep someone who wasn't fighting for me. Before I started making excuses for red flags. Before I told myself that love meant enduring being treated like an afterthought. No more of that. The divorce was finalized 6 weeks later. Rachel didn't show up in court. Her lawyer handled it. No contest. She walked away with her car, some cash, and whatever pride she had left, which wasn't much. I never heard from her again. Mutual friends tried to fill in the blanks. Said she was working part-time. Living with her sister. Isolated. Rumors were that Carter ghosted her after his wife kicked him out. No surprise there. She burned the bridge she stood on. And then acted shocked when the fire reached her feet. I didn't rejoice in her misery. I didn't need to. That wasn't the point. The point was, I didn't let her destroy me. I rebuilt. Day by day. I got promoted. Hit the gym again. Started therapy, not because I was broken, but because I wanted to understand why I stayed so long with someone who stopped choosing me. And eventually, I started dating again. Cautiously. Slowly. On my terms. I met someone a few months later. Her name's Leah. She listens when I talk. Looks me in the eye. Laughs like she means it. We're not rushing anything. I'm not looking to replace Rachel. I'm just finally making space for someone who wants to walk beside me, not in front of me, not behind. Equal, honest, present. You know what the hardest part about betrayal is? It's not the act itself. It's realizing you gave your best years to someone who never saw the value in what they had, until it was gone. But here's the thing they never see coming. Sometimes the quiet ones don't explode. Sometimes, they just leave the ashes behind, and rebuild an empire on top of them.